because the terror, the fright, the unknown is what's the worst, the unknown. Because what if, like, the thing that I kept thinking of is like, okay, we say we find him somewhere. I couldn't understand. I couldn't comprehend to break down what I would do in a situation where if I was to walk up on him and see him somewhere like that, hurt, passed away, whatever. I don't know how I would handle that.
Warning. The podcast you're about to listen to may contain graphic descriptions of violent assaults, murder, and adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back to the Murder Police Podcast. Today we will continue the series Never Forget Little Timmy. This is part 2 of 2 of an interview with one of his best friends, Randall Smith.
Well, no. Friday, I got in contact with his mom, which I've never met his mom before because she had been in and out in her own situations or whatever. I'm not going to speak on it. I don't know. And finally got to meet her, and we looked. Me, his mom, her daughter, his sister. We looked for days. All of us. We all looked everywhere, anywhere you could think of, down in that area. I mean, Timmy's not going that far out there. Period. He's not. Unless he's running for his absolute life, he's not going far out there. Not happening. So we did what we could with what we had, which we didn't have much to go search and find. I even tried to pay people to go out with, I met a guy through the car scene, because where I'm, big into cars, he does a lot of like deep sea fishing. He's got sonars and stuff on his boat. I was going to pay him to go out there and it's just, it's just a mess, and he wasn't there. He wasn't nowhere, and your mind plays tricks on you, whenever you're in the scenery and you get back into town, you start seeing things where he could have been or where he could be, and your brain starts playing tricks on you, and, and you want to envision where he is and try to find that spot, whatever, out there. And you just can't. And it was rough, and, I don't know how to put it into words whenever we were looking for him. The weeks. I felt like it was weeks. It was a lifetime that we were out there looking, because it was scary. It was scary, It was terrifying to think that your brother is out here missing somewhere and he doesn't know what he's doing in the woods.
Yeah.
And
you're probably thinking worst case scenarios and
that's
your imagination.
In any circumstances like this, the human brain goes straight to the worst thing, no matter what. And we can all relate to that. Everybody, if say that you hear about your cousin in a wreck or something like that and say, oh, it was bad. Your head's thinking, oh my God, what, like, are they almost like
passed away?
Yeah. Your brain instantly, they don't think about the positives. They go straight to boom.
It's got to be the worst scenario,
thing.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most cancerous thing of the human brain. Whenever you can,
I believe
see a situation and think the worst.
The brain is an anticipation machine, and things like this fuel it. Like you said, it goes in.
Yeah, because the terror, the fright, the unknown is what's the worst. The unknown. Because what if, like, the thing that I kept thinking of is like, okay, we say we find him somewhere. I couldn't understand. I couldn't comprehend to break down what I would do in a situation where if I was to walk up on him and see him somewhere like that, hurt, passed away, whatever. I don't know how I would handle that. I would, you know what I mean? That's another thing, whenever we're out there
I don't think you can prepare yourself mentally.
No.
The anticipation.
And it's just, that was the worst part of even looking, like the will to go look was high. We want to be out there looking. I couldn't imagine, like, if I'm sitting there because every time I was out there, I was with his mom. I'm gonna let you know, if I was out there and we walked up on him somewhere with his mom, oh my God, awful. It was awful. It would have been awful.
Well, I understand that currently there's a cash reward, and I think you're part of that.
Yeah,
so.
I have personally. So I started off with $3,000. I posted it on Facebook, $3,000, and I let that set for 4 or 5 days, and let it simmer on people. And I was like, $3,000. Nobody's talking yet. Nobody said nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I got solid $5,000. I posted a video dropping the money on the bed. Bring me the information. I need the information. I want my brother to come home, and soon after that, his father's dad, said, I got this one too. So at this point, now we're at 25,000, and nothing.
For $25K.
Now a week after that, I had my race car. It was worth $20,000. You could turn around and sell it for an easy $15,000, and somebody would bring you cash the same day. I posted that in there. I was like, we got $25,000 in a fully built race car. Boom. I posted everything I had, everything I loved to find my brother.
An answer, yeah.
For something, and there was nothing. There was still crickets today. Nothing. You hear rumors on the street. We're living in a town with a population of around 20,000, a little over 20,000 people. And rumors, they switch from person to person or whatever. It's like if we was to stand 100 people in a line and we say cat here, by the end of it, it's going to say dog,
yes.
And it's terrible, and I don't know. Yeah.
That's what we're grasping to and it's relatively short period of time since April, because it's August when we're recording this, is that the rumor mill's been in full swing.
Oh.
And we talked about that with some of the family of, and we won't go too deep into it, but you're like, why would people make stuff up like that, knowing that it hurts people that are close to
it?
And maybe that's why they do it. I've never understood that kind of stuff. But so here we are. We're sitting on $25,000 in cool, cold cash.
And a car.
That somebody, I know that would probably like to have that money, and a
brand new car.
Exactly.
That literally goes 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it's a dream car,
I mean, I guess people have loyalties, but I don't know. I think people, if they're listening or watching this, they need to be thinking about what $25K is in a car.
Yeah, and, I mean,
not to mention if somebody hangs out of this information, if they're like really close to this and they hang on to it too long, they'll go to prison too.
Yeah,
that's what I don't get about people. They don't understand that you've got a limited window to jump through to go
before you're involved.
That's
right.
You've got some time to reach out to it's Detective Damon Stevens with KSP doing a fantastic job on this. I'd come clean with him, and $25K or not, 25 sweetens the deal a little bit. I'd come clean and get that off my shoulders and have a shot at going to heaven when I die. And then, and then not to mention that, but not doing time with somebody that's responsible for any of this that went on. So $25K is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So, and thank you for, and I wanted to get there because that's how you take that fear, that anticipation, that anxiety, and translate it into something that can maybe help.
Yeah.
Because the other is just you. Yeah.
So, I got the idea of the $3,000 because while we're out there looking, I'm out there with his mom, his Aunt Angie, and his cousin Josh, which I grew up around these people, literally grew up around them because they're friends with my aunt. So like I remember his cousin Josh is like my cousin. I remember him being like 8 years old, and he looked at me and he said, whatever you do, just help me find Timmy. And I was like, listen, buddy, I'm going to do whatever I can to find Timmy for all of us, and that day I went and posted the $3,000 reward. And then, after nothing, went with the $5,000 reward, which having a family at home, I can't really do much with money, but $5,000 in this
That's
town,
a big chunk of
Randall. It seems like a lot of money, because I don't know anybody out here that can go to their bank and grab $5,000 and still be able to pay their bills, after giving $5,000 away.
Well, and I think the fact that you're so desperate that you're willing to give so much and then give your prized car, I mean, you're just willing to do whatever you can.
If I could, I would sell 2 kidneys in both my legs to have Timmy back, you know? And I feel like everybody that knows Timmy would do the same thing. There's a lot of people that knows Timmy. Let me rephrase that. Anybody that genuinely cared about Timmy would do the same thing, you know? Because Timmy was, he wasn't just somebody that was there. You know what I mean? He was somebody that was there forever. You know, he would hold you down forever. You know, he was just the realest person. You know, he did not care what it took. You know, he was always riding with you. You know, he would do whatever he needed to do to make sure you were taken care of, you know, and that's who he was. So for people to make rumors about him and stuff like this, it doesn't make sense because Timmy was one of the best people I've ever met in my life. So
if you could talk to people, because it's a small community, that's what I love about this town. And but if you could talk to people who are listening or watching, what would you ask them to do? What would you want them to do to make this different?
If you know anything about the situation, please come forward. You know, I've prayed to God days. Like I work, you know, every day. And, you know, I just think, you know, I pray to God and telling God to put the conviction in these people's hearts to come forward, you know, and that's all we really want. You know, we want Timmy back. And we just want justice, you know. So if you know something involved or you're not involved, you just heard it from somebody that might have been involved or close to the people involved, just come forward, you know, because Timmy might not have been your person to the people listening. He was our person, you know, and if it was one of your people, you would want somebody to do the same thing. You would want somebody to come forward to help you find your person.
Hey everybody, it's David. If you follow us on social media, you know that I travel a lot, teaching leadership across the country to police executives. I love to travel, but sometimes when you travel, you can get food fatigue and get wore out. But every now and then you find a gem, and I want to share a gem in Harrisonville, Missouri called 1886 with you right now, just outside Kansas City, Missouri. I stumbled across this beautiful restaurant in downtown Harrisonville and a fantastic menu of food that we kept going back for throughout the week. So if you're in the area of Kansas City, slide south a little bit, go to Harrisonville, and go to 1886 and grab a bite to eat. And when you do, tell them David with the Murder Police Podcast says hello. 100%.
Yeah, and he deserves justice, you all deserve answers.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we heard from when we spoke to his uncle and his grandmother, and I'm sure you and a lady we spoke to last night would say the same thing. This family just wants him back so they can pay their proper respects and know where your loved one is.
You know, it's whether he's still here or whether he's passed away, we just want him back. You know, that's the biggest thing, you know. Because if he's not here anymore, he says he's passed away and he's been thrown out like he's not trash, you know. He you know, this is the thing. Saints have a past, sinners have a future. No matter what Timmy has ever done wrong in his life, everybody makes mistakes, and he still had a good future, you know. Ahead of him, he's young, and for him to be thrown out like he was, you know, trash or whatever has happened, you know, is not right. And it's awful.
Yeah. When somebody's life is cut short or they don't have that ability, is that they get robbed of that opportunity to change. And we all know too many people that have changed. And I know that in my career for 28 years, one of the coolest things I saw was watching people change. And make sure you have a lot of faith in humanity. Not everybody keeps making those same mistakes. And some people do go to an institution for several years, and then they come out and they change and are different, and they live productive lives and healthy lives and loving lives and have families. But when somebody is irresponsible around that person, or maybe even worse than irresponsible, they rob them of that.
Yeah, that's the sad thing here, is that Timmy was just out a day and didn't get a chance to be who he was going to be now that he had a fresh start again. He didn't get his fresh start.
Yeah, he didn't. And we talked about it on Facebook, me and him, like that night that he had messaged me, or I messaged him after he sent me a friend request. I was like, "Hey man, you're gonna get a job," I was thinking about bringing him to work with me, just see how it would work, and because my job is really labor extensive. It's hot outside. Anyway,
as long as he brought some extra shirts, he'd probably be in.
Probably, yeah. But he had told me that he was planning on going to work with his daddy down in, I think it was Georgia or wherever it was, and I was like, man, that'd probably be the best thing for him is to get out of here.
That's what we're hearing too, because when you re-enter, there's the list of things that you have to do within 24 and 48 hours, and then, but what I keep getting from people that were close to him is he had a list of things he had to do to comply, but he had a list of things he wanted to do and those things were good, powerful, very forward-thinking things. Getting into meetings, staying with AA and NA, and getting employment and stuff like that. Is that everybody can do the minimum that they make you do, but it sounded like Timmy was ready to do much, much more than that.
Yeah, Timmy was ready to we didn't get in depth in the conversation with it, but on the phone that morning, the morning that I'd called him after I woke up and seen that he had responded to my message, we had talked, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to get my license. I'm going to get a car. I'm going to, do this. Can't wait. And I was like, yeah. And now thinking back on it, he's never really got to experience owning possessions of his own and working hard for it and getting, the adult dream life that he deserved, and he's been robbed of all of that. And it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking.
It is. And it's sad that not only did Timmy get robbed of it, but his friends and family who were so eager and anticipating him to come home, you all got nothing but a message and a video call. You didn't even get to reconnect and rekindle where you left off as young boys and now know each other as adults.
Adults, adult life, I'll tell you right now, my adult life is way different than it was 7 years ago.
For sure.
So, and I was ready to put him on to it. I was going to show him, I don't know. There's just a lot that we could have done together, and now we're just lost in the wind here.
Find him.
It's bad.
Well, hopefully people listen and watch. They share this with other people. It's just a small town.
Well, we know somebody knows something.
Yeah. Somebody here knows something.
Oh, for sure.
And I'd say more than one somebody knows something.
By now.
So, I would venture to say that even if they don't do it for the handsome rewarding car, I know those are material things, and that's so generous of you and his dad to do that. I know you feel like that's the least you could do.
Yeah.
But aside of that, even if we don't take into account those material things, have a conscience. Do it for yourself to do the right thing for friends and family. How can you live with knowing either what you've done or what somebody else did? I just don't think we're wired to live knowing that someone has done evil. How do you live with that in your conscience? How do you sleep at night?
It's awful. It sounds awful. I don't know how anyone could ever do that, and God's going to, do his work, whether we get our justice in this life
That's
now.
Right.
God will make sure that we will have justice at the end, whether,
good or bad.
Good or bad,
Yes, somebody's going to have to answer for it someday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather clear my conscience now, and whether you get in trouble or not, I'd much rather sleep well at night knowing I did the right thing.
Yeah. I believe in Jesus and God. There's a higher power somewhere. We just didn't pop up, boom, just like that out of nothing. There's no way that intelligent human beings and animals just popped out of nowhere. So I hope whoever's listening, and if they know anything and they believe in God, and they want to try to save themselves and their own soul, they come forward and they try to help us find him, because God, I don't think he's going to forgive.
I don't think he's down for that.
No.
I don't think he's.
It is a commandment after all.
Yeah, that's true.
That we shouldn't murder.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, even if you didn't do it,
Mm-hmm.
whoever's out there, but clear your conscience.
I don't know. So this is the way I see it. All right. If, say that Timmy went out there and he had passed away on his own, whatever, or whether somebody drug him out and beat him up and got too serious with it and killed him. Well, whether he died on his own will or somebody killed him, what's the difference between that, him dying on his own will and somebody killing him? What's the difference between them two murder? What's the difference between that and murder? Him dying on his own and y'all hiding his body away from us, and somebody killing him and then hiding his body. There's no difference.
It's still an evil deed.
If somebody dies on an accident and you don't report it and you decide to play Where's Waldo with the body, there's no difference between that and murder.
And most juries will agree with you too.
That is
because it's unreasonable.
You should not have. It should never happened. If that's what happened or whatever,
report it and say something's unexpected happened.
Yeah,
and try to get him
that's
help.
The thing too, that of all the possibilities, there's a lot of rumors running around, and again, we don't do those here, but of all the possibilities of what could have happened, and it's a wide range of things out there.
Anything.
Is some of those possibilities in and of themselves aren't a straight up bad deed, just being stupid.
Yeah.
But the longer you wait with stupid, the worse it
gets.
Worse
it gets.
And the worse a good jury would look at it, or a good judge would look at it, is that it's stupid in the moment when you're emotional and you're scared and stuff like that. But the longer that goes on, then
it's intentional. It's very intentional that you're trying to hide it.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of things that could happen to him, and some of them are simply tragic, right? And but you can take something tragic and make it evil.
Oh yeah,
hanging on to it. And again, depriving you and the family and everybody else that was close to him of answers and some
or any type of closure or anything.
Exactly.
You're just left in the dark.
So you can't put something like this into words, really.
You've done good. I mean, it's hard, but you've done a really good job of expressing who he is and what it feels like, and the frustration, the anticipation of searching for somebody. I know you can't put it in words, but you've done really well. And I think that, again, that's what people listening, watching are going to pick up on, is a really good picture of Timmy, and then this whole thing of what it could be, might be, and then what the consequences are as time changes and the pain that's left behind. So. Did you have anything else?
No, I just, the whole thing is so tragic. And the more we talk to people and get different versions, we are learning more. Unfortunately, we didn't have an opportunity to know Timmy, but the more we talk to people like yourself, we learn more and more about him. And not that it's not tragic for anybody to lose anyone, but it kind of brings it closer to home for us, because we're getting so many intimate stories, and the more we hear, the sadder it gets. And it's like this poor guy was just wanting to try to get out and do the right thing and start over and have a fresh start. And I agree with what you said. Everybody's got a past, but we don't have to keep kicking them down over something that they're trying to redo better.
I come from a family full of addicts. It missed me. I never got down that road. I didn't, because I could see, what it was doing to not just them, but our family and me, and I wasn't even doing it. So I never went down that path. But I've seen all of them rebound to 100% normal lives these days. So that goes back, all saints have a past and all sinners have a future.
That's right.
Just because we make mistakes don't mean that we're not willing to move forward in our life and live a better life.
You can't,
you
can't keep somebody down over something that they did back when.
Yeah.
So let it go and let them move on. And that's sad, because I really do believe he was going to get his second chance and do better and be productive and have good friends and family and a job and and he
have everything he ever could have dreamt of, and
he got robbed of it.
And we all got robbed of watching him grow into this beautiful flower that he could have been.
That's right.
Man.
So I mean, it's just hopefully something comes out as time keeps moving forward. And I hope it's sooner rather than later, because
that's our hope. Too.
That's our hope, Randall. We really hope that justice is brought for Timmy and you all, and for whomever is responsible. I mean, somebody's got to pay for it. I always say, if you're big enough to commit the crime, well, you ought to have the balls to pay for it.
Yeah, do the time. You can do the crime. Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Don't be out
we
there
all
doing
grew
it
up listening and hearing that.
Exactly.
You know?
So, I mean, if it was an intentional act, somebody was big enough and bad enough to do it, so pay for it.
Yeah.
Again, if it was an accident and
you just didn't report it,
then just tell, yes, it was an accident and we got scared and we didn't know what to do, but here's what happened and here's where he is.
That sentence and that sentence and saying, hey, it's an accident, I mean, probably going to be less than
big time.
You know,
really hurt someone.
So if you're there and you're out there and you know something, please let us know.
That's right.
You know, because as time keeps moving forward, it's only going to get worse. And sooner or later, something's going to get found out.
Yes, and we're 4 months, coming on 5 months now since his disappearance. So it's been long enough, and somebody needs to speak up. We thank you so much, Randall, for coming. And
thank y'all for having me.
Thank you so much for being such a good friend / brother to Timmy, that you're willing to not only speak on his behalf, but you're willing to say, I'll give a reward in money. That shows your love for Timmy, and you just want answers like everybody else. Yeah. That's such a selfless thing to do.
Yeah. Timmy was my first brother, you know. Like, I had 2 half brothers that I didn't get to meet until I was almost 18 years old. You know, I was raised with a sister. So whenever me and Timmy ended up getting real close as kids, I was like, man, this is what it's like to have a brother, you know.
Finally got a brother.
Crap at each other, whatever, you know. So he was my first brother that I had, you know, and that's you know, I cherish that for the rest of my life.
Well, thank you too. I mean, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of vulnerability to come and talk about the things that you did. But I think that there's so many people coming forward that want to speak on this, and I think we'll see something on this hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah. Thank you again, Randall.
It's no problem. Thank you all for having me.
Hey, you know there's more to the story, so go download the next episode like the true crime fan that you are.
The Murder Police podcast is hosted by Wendy and David Lyons and was created to honor the lives of crime victims, so their names are never forgotten. It is produced, recorded, and edited by David Lyons. The Murder Police podcast can be found on your favorite Apple or Android podcast platform, as well as at murderpolicepodcast.com, where you will find show notes, transcripts, information about our presenters, and a link to the official Murder Police podcast merch store, where you can purchase a huge variety of Murder Police podcast swag. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which is closed caption for those that are hearing impaired. Just search for the Murder Police podcast and you will find us. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe for more and give us 5 stars and a written review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your podcasts. Make sure you set your player to automatically download new episodes so you get the new ones as soon as they drop. And please tell your friends. Lock it down, Judy.